Hey, it's me, SK, Nicholas. Um, yeah, making a video. I'm just going to digress. I'm just going to digress in this video. There's no purpose to it. The beard. Look at that beard. Look at that ginger beard. You know, when I was a kid, well, not a kid, but when I was, well, yeah, when I was a kid, sort of a young adult, I really wanted a beard. I really wanted a big, bushy beard. Because when I was a child, I was really into wrestling, and you know some of the wrestlers had the long hair and the beards, and I just really wanted a beard, but it never grows longer than this. It never really goes much longer than this. Even if I weren't to sort of shave or trim in like a year, it genuinely wouldn't really grow that much longer than that, which has always made me sad. Because as I said, growing up, I really wanted a big beard, and it never really happened. Um, Pardon me, I burped. And I wanted long hair as well. I really want, look at that, fuck's sake. I really wanted long hair, and it's never grown long. Jimmy Campkin, obviously, I've mentioned him a few times, writer and friend of over 20 years. I've always secretly hated him because he's had long hair, the ability to grow his hair long. And when we were kids, I remember, obviously teenage years as well, he would just have this shoulder length hair, and every so often he'll cut it quite short. I think he's got it reasonably short now, but then he'd grow it long, and I'd always look at him and think, you bastard, why can't I have hair like that? So yeah, I wanted a beard, it never went long. I wanted long hair, and it never went long. It would just kind of grow sort of mullety, sort of quite bushy. That annoyed me. Imagine as a kid, I was very troubled because I didn't have. I knew the beard wasn't there. Couldn't grow long hair. I had ginger hair as a kid, kind of like that color hair up there. You know, ginger kids obviously get it in the neck a bit, and they never really had much of an issue with. I was never bullied as a kid, but you know, a few name calling, especially when Nat was kind of up there, and I was a spotty kid as well. For a couple of years, I was spotty, so I was a spotty, ginger, pale kid. Wow, that explains a lot, doesn't it? And so yeah, I was angry. I was angry at the world as a kid, and that anger remains to this day. I was also rubbish with women. I was rubbish with girls when I was a kid. I'm still rubbish, but kind of for different reasons. But yeah, when I was a kid, when I was uh, when I was probably up to the age of 12, I was a playboy. In the sense that I had a lot of girlfriends up until about the age of 12. You know, I was quite charismatic. And then puberty hit, and then boom, you know, I became this. For anyone that's ever kind of watched Red Dwarf, I became a rimmer. That sounds pleasant, but no, the character from Red Dwarf, Arnold Rimmer, especially in the first couple of seasons, Rimmer was this guy. He was rubbish with women, and obviously he was a hologram at that point, but even in his life he'd always been rubbish with women. He'd always been really sort of just crap, and that was was me when I hit my teenage years. I was just rubbish with girls. I just couldn't talk to them. I saw them as aliens, and I would fancy girls, and then I would kind of just think, no, can't do it. I can't speak to them. I can't look at them. And I kind of, and I then obviously now I'm sort of crap with women because I can't get the balance. I can't get the balance between art and sort of my art and my love life. I can't get them to, yeah. Um, but again, I think at least now I know that, and obviously, damned lovers, you know, that's where it comes from. That kind of inability to kind of balance everything and make it work. But yeah, when I was a kid, I was desperately wanting a girlfriend, but I just couldn't. I just couldn't I just couldn't look at a girl without without making it happen. And I was talking to Jimmy Campkin about this. I was kind of we were both talking about sort of like experiences with women, and obviously when we were growing up with girls, when we were sort of like teenagers or whatever. And yeah, it's kind of we had a right laugh when we were talking about all our bad experiences and all the rest of it. And yeah, I always remember there was a girl. Obviously, I'm not going to name names, but there was a girl I went to school with, and I had this massive crush on her. Awesome crush. I was probably about 13, maybe, and every time I'd go in, I'd see her, and I'd think, my God, I'm in love, and and I'd go home that night, and I'd think, that's it. Tomorrow, I'm gonna tell her that I love her, and I'd go in, and she'd look at me, and I'd look down like a naughty dog. When you look at that dog and you go and you sort of give it that eye, and the dog sort of, that's what I do. And then one day, I think I had a couple of days off. I was ill, and then I came in Monday, never forget it, and I thought, today's the day that I'm going to ask out for a date. And I came in and she wasn't in the first class. I think the first class was history, and she weren't in, and I thought, ah, fuck's sake. And then I found out, somebody said, oh, isn't it, have you heard about her? I was like, no, what do you mean? I was off last week. And they said, yeah, she's been sleeping with the teacher. Wow, what a rush that was. Yeah, that was a bit of a slap in the face. The girl I was in love with, I say she was sleeping with the teacher. The teacher was a perv and was kind of, doing things obviously that he shouldn't do with an impressionable young girl. But yeah, that was that was a moment. There are so many times I can go back and just think, oh God, remember that, remember that. I'm not going to go through all of them because I don't want to sound like I'm 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 looking for sympathy. But yeah, I was shit with girls as a kid, and as an adult, I'm quite crap. If I fucking put my arm up there, the contrast goes mental. Look at me, Jesus. And then I put my arm down there, back to normal. Although to be honest, that looks better because it kind of makes me look. Wait a minute, look at that. It makes me look less bleary. So I might just do that and look sort of like Jesus in a way. Well, the sort of the Western sort of world's version of what Jesus looks like. I very much doubt he had a big sort of ginger beard if he was from Bethlehem or whatever. I've been to Bethlehem. I've been to Bethlehem and Jerusalem. I went on holiday with my parents to a cruise to Cyprus when I was about. I'll stop that now. So when I was about sort of 16, when I was about 16, we went on a cruise to Cyprus. Look at that, bleary now. And we went no, sorry, we went on holiday to Cyprus, and then we went on like a 4 day cruise or something. And it went and we went to Egypt, and we went to the pyramids. I stole. Shouldn't really say this. I stole a bit of pyramid. I went up to one of the blocks and I kind of looked around, and I had a bum bag. Yeah, I had a bum bag, and I stole a little bit of pyramid and I put it in my bum bag. I've probably still got it somewhere, I think. Yeah. So yeah, I stole a bit of pyramid and looked at the pyramids. They were cool. And then I've lost myself. Yeah, that was it. We went to Bethlehem, and we went to this church. I think it's Bethlehem. Yeah, it's the Wailing Wall. I think I can't remember. That was there. And then we went into this church, and it was like, this is the church where Jesus was born, or the spot, and now there's a church on it, whatever. And I went in. I remember looking around, thinking, where was he born? And I went out, and then my mum said, oh, did you see the star on the floor? That's where Jesus was born. And I was like, oh fuck, I saw the star. I didn't know what it meant. And then yeah, I went to Jerusalem, and obviously the place where he was crucified. Terrible business. I think that there was a guy called Jesus. I think he was knocking about, but it's all Chinese whispers, really, isn't it? So yeah, why did I start talking about that? Can't remember. So yeah, went to Bethlehem, went to Jerusalem. Been to a few other places. Never been, never been to Scotland. Never been to Ireland. Never been to America. I'd like to go to America, but the spiders are too big, and I don't like flying. I remember the last time I was in a plane was when I was dating Benicia, um, my ex-girlfriend, and we went to Tenerife for the week. And I remember she said that she didn't like flying, and I thought that's kind of good because at least the two of us will have each other. And the plane took off. She immediately fell asleep, and I was left kind of just bricking it. And I remember at some point someone puked up, someone had a panic attack, and I was just sat there in the chair thinking, God, it's going to crash. The plane's going to crash. And I kept looking at that screen that they have, and you can see where the plane is. And obviously, halfway over the ocean, I was thinking, if we crash now, we're fucked. But as it inched towards Tenerife, I was thinking, oh, if it crashes now, we're kind of closer to the shore, so maybe I could swim. And then, as we got to Tenerife, I remembered that one of the worst sort of aviation kind of disasters in history happened at the Tenerife airport a few years ago. Can't remember when it was, 70s, 80s. Two planes crashed, or three planes crashed, and it was like 400 people died. And I was like, ah. So yeah, don't like flying. I used to fly everywhere as a kid. Well, everywhere. I used to fly quite a lot as a kid, every year, family holidays and whatever. But I don't like flying now. I worry. I think it's going to crash. Um, so yeah, and spiders. I'm not big. I'm not a big fan of spiders. Um, I really don't like spiders. I'm very very scared. I always remember my worst spider experience. Um, was yeah, few years ago now. I was living in Wickham, and I was in a house I was living at. I lived with two other women. They were out, and yeah, I remember waking up with a hangover one morning. Sat down at my chair. The desk was in front of me, computer screen, the wall to my left, and I was sort of going like that, drinking my cup of tea, my Monster, sort of hangover remedy. And I just looked to the left, and on the wall, sort of, a yard in front of me, there was this big black spider. It was like that size, and I immediately threw myself off my wooden chair, and I kind of scurried along the floor, shouting and screaming, proper Tourette's, ran downstairs, and just started jumping up and down, swearing, and then immediately thought, fuck, no one's in. Again, the two other women I'm living with aren't here. I've got to kill it. So I ran up. I ran into the kitchen and I got this weird mop thing, and I ran up to my room, jumped on my bed, and it was on the wall. And it was on the wall, and I was thinking, oh God, I've got to do it. I've got to do it. And I sort of got off the bed, and I had the mop. And I remember just thinking, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. And just as I pulled back and I went to kill it, it dropped behind my desk. I launched out of the room, fell down the stairs. It was like steep kind of wooden steps, just slid down, swearing, shouting, screaming. Then again thought, I've got to kill it. So I ran back upstairs, jumped on my bed, looked around, and there it was. It was high on the wall. And I thought, this is it. I'm no messing about. And yeah, I stepped off the bed, looked to see where I was stepping, looked up and it was gone. Never saw it again. Oh, I could literally make a 5-hour video just where I talk about all my experiences with spiders, just the amount of times I've been scared of them. I am scared of spiders. Like, again, I can think of many, many memories of where, I've been a, a few times in relationships, and there's a spider there, and I've just been saying to my ex, my partner at the time, kill it, please. I can't go near it, please. You have to kill it because I'm a coward. See, I don't like spiders. Bastards, little bastards they are. Two things came in the post today. I can't really afford to buy them, but I thought, you know, a little treat for getting the journal done. I'm not going to read anything from the journal. I'll leave that. But here we go. Oh, what's that? Journal for Damn Lovers 2 by S.K. Nicholas, which is me. See, I'll read some pieces another time. The first journal as well is somewhere. But I bought two items. One is a computer game, The Evil Within. Evil Within 2. Loved the first game, played it a few years ago. Really enjoyed it. One of my favourite kind of sort of next gen games and horror games, definitely. It's well up there. I'm a big horror fan. So yeah, Evil Within 2, play that, batter it. The next one, Twin Peaks, The Final Dossier, written by Mark Frost, who co-created Twin Peaks with David Lynch. And so have a sniff. Ah, that smells lovely, that does. New book. I miss working in the bookshop because whenever we just get new books in, I smell. This smell reminds me of my old art studios back in High Wycombe. Yeah. So the idea is that Mark Frost was going to write this one big book before the third season of Twin Peaks came out. But then it was decided that there was a lot of stuff in there that would be spoilers and whatever, so they cut it in half. And the first one was called the Secret History of Twin Peaks, which was a bit of a troll, to be honest. I've got it. I've got it on hardback and CD. I've listened to some of the CD. It's okay, but it's very much uh, it delves into the history of Twin Peaks, and it's yeah, it's a bit of a troll. But this one is really exciting because it basically goes into detail about characters from Twin Peaks. So you've got like Philip Jeffries, Major Briggs, Sheriff Truman, the Log Lady, Lawrence Jacoby, Annie, and Judy, of course. I'm not going to talk about Judy. So there's a lot in there that I'm really excited about. Smells really nice. This was delivered just a short while ago. I got back from work earlier, and I heard the car pull up, and I ran. I looked out the window, and I saw this guy getting out. So I ran downstairs, and I stood by the door, and he knocked on it, and I kind of thought, don't answer it straight away. Don't appear desperate. So I waited a bit, and then I opened it and acted surprised, like, oh, and yeah, I got that. So I'll read that at some point. Evil Within 2, I'll play at some point. Journal for Damn Lovers by myself. Um, so yeah, digressing. I quite like this. I find it so difficult to try and be coherent all the time. So make a video where I just think, fuck it, I'm just going to go off on one is nice. Um, there's a little spot there. Talking of spots, yeah, I used to go to this nursery school in uh, in Lucy Farm. It's kind of like a place in Luton. Um, yeah, so there's this place called Lucy Farm, and I used to go to this sort of nursery school, which was situated on a road called Pastures Way. And I've written about it a few times recently, so that will go into the third journal. Um, and yeah, there was a dead body was found in a river near Pastures Way recently. I read about it on the news, and I just thought, oh God, it's terrible. I used to walk down there, my little sort of 5-year-old version of myself. That's when I went to the swimming pool, and I would throw people's shoes in the water like a naughty little boy that I was. And I remember there was a guy that I used to go to school with, and he pooed himself. He pooed himself, and we were getting out of the swimming pool, and as he was getting out, a little bit of poo sort of trailed him, and everyone laughed at him and teased him. And yeah, I'm not going to say his name. He's not going to be watching this, but you know, I don't want to be nasty. Never going to be nasty. So yeah, I'm SK. I hope you've enjoyed me rambling on. Have a bath. I'm gonna have a bath soon. It's got to be done. Um, and then oh yeah, writing, editing, try and catch up the best way that I can. And then in between all of that, I'll probably just sort of lie on my bed, sort of with my eyes shut for 2 hours. And then afterwards, I'll think, fuck, I've wasted 2 hours. So yeah, I'm SK Nicholas. It's a pleasure. Um, Hope you're doing well. Stroke a cat.